Hi guys, and welcome to my very, very first podcast, The Principles of Dance. My name is Nazine Danielle and I am going to be your host. So I have not got the spelling wrong. The Principles of Dance is going to be aimed primarily at all you superhero dance teachers out there who own studios, who do so much to keep your studios up and running, to teach the children, to give them the best opportunities, the best learning experiences, and who go above and beyond on a daily basis for those children. Now, I hope it's not just limited to dance principles. I hope there's going to be lots of juicy content along the way for dance teachers and also for parents. You know, if you've got children in dance and you want some more information to best support them on their dance journey, then I think, you know, throughout these episodes, there's going to be tons of content that's going to be great for you also. And again, not just limiting it there. I think if you're an older dancer, and you're hoping to go into the industry, or you're hoping to be a dance teacher one day, then hopefully there's going to be tons of content in there for you also to help develop your career along the way. So this is all brand new to me. I am learning on the job. I am learning before your very eyes. I absolutely love this setup. I feel like I'm a presenter on This Morning. So I'm so excited to be here and doing this. I'm really hoping to build a community with this along the way. So what I really would love is for you guys to get in touch. Probably the best place to contact me is on Instagram, which is Nazine_Danielle's_dance_dynamics. We'll pop them in the show notes after as well. And, you know, just reach out and let me know what kind of things you would like to hear on this podcast, what subjects you'd like us to cover, because I really do want to build a community and cater, you know, for you. I think as a dance teacher, we get into business because we love to dance and we want to share our knowledge and our skills. But then all of a sudden we find ourselves running a business and no one ever prepared us for that. We didn't go to business school. So again, we're learning on the job. So I hope this space becomes a place where we can share some best practices. You know, things as simple as growing our social media, our online presence, just the day-to-day running of the business, as well as sharing best practice for teaching and, you know, our love of dance as well. So I have got some gorgeous guests lined up for future podcasts, but today it is just me. And I thought, you know, when I have a guest on the show, I'm going to be asking them about their backgrounds, what got them to where they are today. So I thought it was only fair that I kind of did that for myself today. So you get to know me a little bit better, know what my background was, how I've got to where I am today. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, I'm not one for talking about myself. So we'll see how this goes. I started dance when I was 4, probably a very similar way that most children do. I was a super, super shy child. I would hide behind my mum's leg. I wouldn't talk to anybody if they said hello. So my mum took me to dance class to try and bring me out of myself a little bit. And I think I just took to it. I went to a dance school in Liverpool, which is sadly no longer here. It was called Elliot Clark. And I was a Saturday school pupil there from the age of 4. When I was 6, one of the teachers there did competition lessons. So I got involved in competitions. And I remember being in the studio one day, and the studios were so gorgeous. If you're from Liverpool, they were in Hanover Street. I think they used to be called Crane Buildings, but they're now called, I think it's Hanover House. And it's the same place, the same building where the Epstein Theatre is. I think back then it was called the Neptune. And I remember, I was only a tiny thing, so I might be wrong, but the studios were so huge and they had gorgeous parquet flooring that used to give you splinters in your bottom. I remember that bit as well. And I was in the studio doing my private lesson. I won't sing the song for you. I'm not that comfortable with this yet. And it was something like, why not put your savings in the bank of sunshine? And I used to have 3 little suns on my dress and I had to point at each one. And next door, because the school I went to had a college, a performing arts school and a Saturday school. So the school were next door doing their singing lesson. And I know this now because I later on became a member of the school. On a Friday, they would do singing classes where they all sat around the edge of the room and the singing teacher, Miss Hall, would make everybody stand up one at a time and deliver a song. Needless to say, a lot of people were not very well on a Friday because it used to make them very, very nervous. So Mrs. Hall was next door doing this singing lesson and she said, who's that singing next door? So she brought me in, this little 6-year-old with this big, massive voice, and I had to sing for the whole school. Little did I know at that time that was such a pivotal moment in my career today, because obviously now I've gone on to have all those 3 things, a school, a college and a Saturday school, which I'll come to a little bit more later on. So Miss Thompson, the principal of the school, spoke to my mum and said, would you allow Nazine to come to full-time school? And my mum said, well, I would, but she's only 6 and the school starts from 8. So Miss Thompson agreed to take me on at 6. And from that day, that just shaped my whole life. And I knew from such a young age that is what I wanted to create for other children moving forward, because I loved school so much. If you said to me, you can go back to school tomorrow, I would. And after having a dance school for so many years, I realised that is not the same feeling that a lot of children have. Anyway, I'm going to come back to that. I digress a little bit. So I went to the full-time school 6 to 14, because sadly it shut down when I was 14. When I was 16, I met a DJ who has gone on to be a very, very successful DJ. His name is Mike DeScala. And at the time, he had a group called Resonance Q, which I joined and was a part of and sang on many of their songs back when I was about 17, 18. Mike then went on to do Ultra Beat. I think he had another few groups along the way. But if you're into your club music, you might know of a group called Camel Fat. Again, I'm not going to sing for you today, but they have a song, one of their most popular ones is called Coca-Cola. So if you're into dance music, you might know that. So he's gone on to do wonderful things, super, super talented guy. And I'll be forever grateful for him because he was, the one who got my foot in the door with All Around the World Records. So as part of All Around the World Records, we had a few songs released, and one of our songs, Someday, I actually choreographed the video for it. My friend Paul would go mad if I said that because there was actually a section that he choreographed too. So it was a collaboration. And I had all my friends in the video and they were all the dancers. From there, the record label, this really kind of opened up doors for me as a choreographer. So the record label then had me choreographing for other artists. So again, if you're into your clubland music, people like Kelly Lorena, Ultra Beat, the Blackout Crew. And I think I joined the clubland family at such an amazing time because they had all the clubland compilations and it was doing so well that they decided to start doing UK tours. So when they did their UK tours, they asked me to be the choreographer, and I organised everything from providing the dancers, doing all the choreography, styling all the dancers, and coming up with the kind of concepts of performance for some of the artists. Some of the artists were, we're going back a few years now. So Samantha Mumba, Cascada, Darren Styles, Scooter. Again, if you're into your club music, you would know them. If you're not, you won't have a clue what I'm talking about. But such an amazing part of my career. Sorry, put my teeth back in. Living on tour buses. I was choosing the dancers, so I was working with my friends. It was just the best times ever. This is kind of how my college was born, because I was using my senior dancers. Oh, there's my phone going. I'm just turn that off. Vibrating away there. I was using my senior dancers who were about to go into college, and they wanted to carry on training with me. And there was all these exciting opportunities happening. And so my college was born. So it only started off with about 3 or 4 students. And for many years, I didn't push the college because I wanted to make sure I had the right formula in place before I started to advertise it and, offer the services to a wider audience. So that's how my college was born. And then to bring you up, sorry, I'm knocking the mic there, to bring you up to the current day. And I've had a few other businesses along the way, which I'll talk about in future episodes. Not September gone, September before. So September 2021, I finally took the plunge and opened my lifelong dream of opening a full-time performing arts school where children come, do their maths, their English, their science alongside their performing arts. And it's been hard work, but it's an absolute dream come true. And I have children, and this is 100% the reason that I've done this. I've got children who weren't coping in mainstream school. They were crying every day because they just didn't fit in. And now they've come to our school and they're skipping into school every single day, up at 6 o'clock every morning, uniform on. Parents don't have to coax them out of bed because they love coming to school so much. So for all the hard work and long days, it's so worth it just to know that I'm giving some of those children the experience I had at school, and that they're having a gorgeous, happy, productive school life. So that's me in a nutshell. So I do feel that I do want to share some of my successes with you, and also some of my failures, because I've had to learn things the hard way. And I think, during our time together over these next few episodes, I'd really love to share the ups and downs so that, maybe you don't have to make the same mistakes along the way. And if anything sticks out to you as a success or as a good way of doing things, then you can implement that in your business too. So I am going to go back to this podcast today. So the way I do business, the way I do a lot of things in my life is on a whim. So I get an idea, normally while I'm exercising or sometimes in the middle of the night, and I'll just phone my mum up and I'll be like, oh, I've got an idea. And she's like, okay, great. What is it? And what I've got to say is my mum has always been a great support system, and she's never gone, oh, do you think that's right? Or, put a dampener on things. She always goes, okay, if that's what you feel you want to do, go for it, give it a try. So, I'm kind of very grateful I've got that kind of belief and support system around me. So yeah, I like to run with ideas while I've got that fire in my belly. And then I like to learn on the job, like I'm doing right now with this podcast now. the lovely Jacob, who's here with me, might say, hang on a minute. It was a while ago since you came to me about this podcast. I think, let's see. I did come to him on a whim, but that was on the 8th of October, 2021. So a year ago, well, over a year ago now. So that was on a whim, how I wanted to set it all up. However, let's just consider the time frame. I opened my academic school in September 2021. So I think between opening that and then deciding to do a podcast and then thinking, actually, my workload's quite full on at the moment. Maybe I'll come back to the podcast when it feels right. So now it feels right. So a year later, I'm here, ready to deliver this content. But like I say, I like to do things on a whim. So when I decided a couple of weeks ago to actually finally do this, I booked the session. And then, true to form, left it till last minute. And this morning, 6 o'clock in bed, I was like, okay, what am I going to talk about today? So, as of 6 o'clock this morning, we didn't even have a name for the show. I had some ideas. So, again, I called my mum, good old mum. And I was like, right, this is what I'm thinking, and talked through some ideas with her. And then, we kind of came up with the principles of dance. So literally everything you're watching is like happening in the here and in the now. But one thing that I thought I did want to talk about was this. While I got my laptop out and started researching, podcasts. I mean, I love listening to podcasts, but I listen mainly to like business podcasts, well-being, self-help, positive thinking. I don't actually listen to any dance podcasts. So I thought, well, I best check, see what's out there. And as I'm starting to do my research, I started it. I'm doing this because it kind of felt like this was happening, but more so like in my brain. And I just started to feel majorly overwhelmed. And I just thought, oh my goodness, okay, stop. I had to shut the laptop down. And I thought, I actually feel like this pretty much every day. And I know we blame social media for a lot. I think it does have a lot to do with social media. And I think, we follow so many dance accounts and we're seeing all these crazy turns, all these crazy leaps, all these crazy tricks. And I don't know about you, but this is how I feel. So there must be other people feeling this out there. I feel overwhelmed, and I feel like sometimes, if I get my laptop out and I'm like, okay, what am I going to do in class today? And I'm looking for a piece of music. And then before I know it, I'm watching something to get ideas. And then this starts to happen again, this overwhelm. And before I know it, and I consider myself quite a creative person, I feel quite numb and I feel overwhelmed. And then I don't end up being very productive. So here's what I think we need to do, guys. I literally closed my laptop, shut my phone down, and just tried to take it back to that feeling I got when I thought, this is what I want to do. I want to do a podcast. Tried to remember how excited I felt, how many ideas I had. And I just felt like I wanted to share this with the world, and working in that kind of, we need to be working in that frequency of excitement, of creativity, of just high vibrations of trust, and trusting in our expertise, and trusting in our passions, and trusting in our talents, and stop working in that negative space of, am I keeping up with the current trends? Am I keeping up? Have I got all these tricks in my dance? So this is something that I wanted to share with you today, because this is how I felt, this overwhelm. So I wondered if there's anyone out there who feels the same. And maybe sometimes we just need to shut that technology down, and we need to go back to that space of where we feel excited, where it all began, why we do what we do, why we love to do what we do. So I'm going to share one more story with you, if I may, before we bring this all to a conclusion. So I don't know whether you know, some of you might not, but I was lucky enough to be part of the creative team for a new project for the ISTD, which, if you don't know, is the Imperial Society for Teachers of Dance. And they wanted to create a suite of new amalgamations for grade 4, 5 and 6. And I was lucky enough to be chosen as one of the choreographers, and I created the new grade 6 musical theatre amalgamation. More of which I will talk about in a different episode, because that's a whole episode in itself. Recently, I went to a school reunion, and I was talking to a lady there who went to the school a few years before I did, because when I went to school, it was Annette Thompson who was the principal. Before Miss Thompson, it would have been Sheila Elliott Clark herself. So this lady went when Sheila Elliott Clark was the principal. And we got talking, and she kind of expressed that she maybe was feeling overwhelmed with the dance world and was maybe even ready to kind of hang up her dance shoes and think, well, have I done all I can do now? Now, this lady has got an incredible dance school. I remember when I was younger and I used to do dance competitions, her dance school was always one of the top ones. And, you knew if you were in a section with one of her dancers, you were up against phenomenal dancers. But she was getting this sense of overwhelm, and she was, like I say, ready to hang up her dance shoes. And she said, do you know what learning those new amalgamations did for me? Because it was they're pure dance. They really draw on the artistry, the narrative of dance. And she said, it kind of gave me my confidence back. Because to see these newly developed amalgamations, and they're not containing any tricks, kicks, leaps, turns, it's just pure dance, it gave her confidence back to say, actually, do you know what? I still have valuable lessons to teach. I can still draw upon my talent. I still know my stuff. I still know how to teach dance. So that was so lovely to hear. And I guess that's what I want to say to you guys today. Again, is just kind of, I'm going to go back to my notes because I wrote a few things down that I want you to remember and take away this week, and just sit back and revisit if ever you're feeling overwhelmed. So, trusting you, trusting your message or your passions and your talents and your expertise. Remember why you started doing what you do, and try not to let all these overwhelming negative emotions stand in your way. So I hope that little message, sometimes we just need to hear it off somebody else. So I hope that little message gives you a little bit of positivity this week. My name's Nazine Danielle. This is the Principles of Dance podcast, and I look forward to delivering more content to you with some incredible guests along the way. But for now, take care, and I'll see you later.